The pets that shouldn't have survived. Asterisk the planet, Gelrex 4 was dark and quiet. Black smoke moved across the broken towers like ghosts. Alien. Commander Jarek, Tomb walked slowly between crushed ships and ruined tanks. He looked left and right with sharp eyes. He was not happy. He expected to see dead human soldiers but found none. There was no blood, no weapons, no bodies. Only strange things were on the ground. Colorful rubber toys, small food bowls, and metal name tags. One tag said Scout, another said Pumpkin. It made no sense. His second in command came closer. Sir, they left behind their pets. Tomb raised one eyebrow. Pet, he said slowly. Why would humans leave pets in a war zone? In the center of the field, said a golden retriever. Its fur was dirty, but its tail wagged happily. It looked at the alien squad like it was waiting for a game. Then something strange happened. The dog blinked and disappeared. Not ran, not jumped, simply vanished like light turning off. Dune took a step back. He felt something cold in his chest. No cloaking device can do that. He whispered. Elsewhere on Earth 2 months before, a woman named Dr. Emily Voss worked on a secret project. The project had no guns, no bombs, no soldiers, only one thing: pets. She called it Project Companion. She believed pets were more than animals. They were loyal, smart, and full of love, so she gave them something new. Advanced AI, hidden armor, and fast reflex upgrades. Scout the retriever became the first protector. Pumpkin the orange cat came next. The third was a raccoon named Bandit who loved shiny things and liked throwing them. Now, back on Gelrex 4, the alien squad moved with caution. One soldier touched a small biscuit lying on the ground. Deep growl came from nowhere. Ground shook just a little, then red eyes blinked in the shadows between metal ruins. Commander Toon gave the order. Shields up, prepare for contact. Soldiers formed a circle, but something struck from the side. 3 aliens were sent flying. Another screamed and pointed. It's a giant beast wearing fur and armor. It's moving too fast. Scout appeared again, but not the same as before. His body shimmered like light on water. His eyes were glowing blue. His tail wagged again, but this time it sliced through a steel beam. He gave a small bark. 3 alien rifles exploded. At once panic spread fast. They are not soldiers, someone yelled. They are pets. Toon froze in place. No, they were pets. Now they are something else. In her lab, Dr. Emily Voss watched through a screen. She saw what Scout was doing. She felt proud but also sad. She had not wanted this war, but now Earth was empty. All humans had left. Only the pets remained. They were now Earth's last defender. Scout remembered his human, a little girl who hugged him every night. She called him brave and gave him cookies. He missed her. Now he protected the place she once lived. Another alien ran, but a black shadow flew over and blocked his path. It was Pumpkin, the fat orange cat. She hissed once and jumped. The alien dropped his weapon and screamed. No training had prepared him for a cat with razor-sharp claws and the power of a tank. Bandit came next. He rolled out from under a broken jeep holding 3 glowing metal balls. He squeaked like he was laughing, then tossed them into the air. Bright flashes followed and the aliens ran in fear. Commander Tun fell to one knee. This is not war, he whispered. This is punishment. These creatures are not pets anymore. They are ghosts of the humans we tried to destroy. Scout stood at the Highest point on the battlefield, he barked again, not in anger but as a warning. This place is not empty. This place is protected. The aliens left that day. They did not come back far away. Diavos looked at the old picture on her desk, her daughter and Scout playing in a garden full of flowers. She smiled softly. You did well, boy. You kept your promise. And Scout, he waited in silence, in the wind, ready to protect again. Alien Patrol meets Fluffy the Destroyer. Asterisk. New alien patrol ship entered the orbit of Geltrex 4. Captain Corin stood in the center of the command deck. He had read the last report from Commander Toon, but he did not believe it. A golden dog fighting with glowing eyes, a fat cat knocking out soldiers, a raccoon using bombs. Impossible. He turned to his crew. Prepare the drop. Full armor, high impact weapons, and someone bring a translator. I want answers from whatever is down there. Drop pods landed near an old Earth village. Broken homes, empty gardens, soft wind blowing leaves through the street. And in the middle of the main road, a tiny white bunny sat chewing a carrot. Captain Corin walked forward slowly. The bunny looked at him. Its ears twitched, its eyes blinked once. He gave a cold smile. So this is what made my men run. He reached toward it with his scanner. Suddenly the scanner beeped. Red warning lights flashed. Target energy unknown. Threat level maximum. The bunny stopped chewing, then stood on two legs. It made no sound, but the earth beneath Corin's boots shook. From behind the houses, more shapes appeared. A group of pets walked out silently. A Dalmatian with silver teeth, a one-eyed black cat wearing armor plates, a small parrot with metal wings and glowing red feathers, and at the very back walked a huge beast covered in golden fur. It looked like a lion, but larger. Its mane moved like fire, and in its eyes was something no alien had ever seen before. Memory. Captain Corin stared at the creature. His voice dropped. What is that? The translator drone tried to connect. It failed once, then tried again. Finally it spoke in a soft female voice. Designation: Fluffy. Earth's Protector, Class 3. Do not engage, do not threaten, do not run. The patrol soldiers laughed at the name. Fluffy, what kind of threat is that? Then Fluffy roared. It was not just a sound, it was a wave. It pushed back trees. It made the metal buildings cry like glass. It hit the aliens like thunder. Several soldiers dropped their weapons. Without thinking, Captain Corin gave the order, open fire, but nothing happened. Guns, gen energy cells exploded in their hands. The translator said calmly, they remember fear. They remember kindness. They fight for both. The bunny moved first. In a blink, it jumped and punched the largest soldier into a wall. The parrot flew in circles, releasing light pulses that blinded scanners. The Dalmatian leapt and bit through armor like paper. The black cat ran across a wall upside down and tore into helmets with its claws. Fluffy walked calmly through it all. Every step was heavy but not rushed. Every growl made tech fail around him. Corin screamed, what are they? What did the humans do to Thema? A voice answered from the translator. You came with guns. We came with loyalty. You brought war. We bring memory. Fluffy stopped in front of the captain. He looked down at him and then did the strangest thing. He sat like a simple house pet waiting for his owner, but the message was clear. I could destroy you, but I choose not to. Captain Corin fell to his knees. He Could not move, he could not speak, he saw images in his head, children playing. In the sun, a girl hugging Fluffy, laughing and calling him good boy. Then, flames, screams, smoke, the pets had not forgotten. From the trees came Scout. Still glowing, he stood beside Fluffy. Then Pumpkin appeared too, her eyes full of fire, and finally Bandit, still chewing wires like candy. Captain Corin raised his hands. We surrender, please. Call them off. Scout gave a soft bark. The animals froze and slowly stepped back. The translator said one final thing: they are not your enemies unless you choose to be theirs. The patrol left that day. No shots fired, no heroes made, only one truth burned into their minds: do not return on Earth. Dr. Emily Voss checked the new satellite feed. She saw Fluffy sitting with a bird on his back, Scout sleeping beside broken tree, Pumpkin cleaning her claws, Bandit stealing a sandwich. She whispered, that's my army, no guns, just love. Asterisk. The generals report, we're being hunted. Asterisk. General Artur of the Zelari Empire slammed his fist on the war table. The room fell silent. The video feed played again. First the bunny punched a soldier through a wall, then the golden beast called. Fluffy stared into the camera, and the transmission ended in static. This is nonsense, he growled. They are animals, they are not soldiers. But the screen did not lie. 3 patrol squads were lost. No human presence detected, only Earth pets, all enhanced, all lethal. The War Council sat still. One elder finally spoke, sir. We believe they were left behind on purpose. The humans wanted us to believe they were weak. Instead, they gave their hearts to creatures who would never betray them. Raptor laughed, but there was no joy. So what now? Do we fear her fur and feathers? Do we run from meowing shadows? He stood and pointed at the map. This is not magic, this is technology, biotech AI. We will learn how it works and destroy it. Far from the council chambers, a lone Zelari scout named Varys moved through the ruins of a forest village. She was quiet and careful. Her helmet scanned for heat. Nothing. The wind was soft. Leaves moved gently. Old Earth signs were nailed to trees. Words like welcome friends and beware of dogs. She stopped at a small playground. A swing moved slowly. There was no one there, but the air felt heavy, too quiet. She lifted her scanner, then dropped a small fluffy cat. Sat on the swing, looking straight at her. Its eyes glowed pink. It purred once and then vanished. Varys turned around too late. A tiny army of birds came from the trees, not ordinary birds. They had tiny gear, tiny goggles. Some had laser pointers attached to their wings. She ran, but the ground gave way, and she fell into a tunnel below. She landed hard. The lights in her helmet went dark. Then she heard footsteps, slow, heavy. Out of the shadows came Scout. He stood tall. His fur had armor woven inside. He looked at her, not with hate, but with disappointment. Ver raised her hands. Please, I am not here to fight. I only wanted answers. Scout didn't attack. He turned and walked down the tunnel. Varys followed. Meanwhile, General Artur received a report. 1. Scout signal had returned. He opened the feed. The video showed Varys inside a strange chamber. Old Earth tech's dog toys everywhere. In the center was a terminal showing the words Project Companion. Loyalty is stronger than a Varys's voice came through misunderstood Earth's last defense. They gave their love to creatures who never stopped loving back. They do not fight for orders, they fight for memories. Rakta shouted, shut it down, bring her back, this is brainwashing, but the video didn't stop. Raccoon climbed onto Very's shoulder, holding a cookie, then passed it to Hirsch. She took it, she laughed. For the first time in years back in the chamber, Scout looked at the screen. He pressed one paw on a control pad. Hologram appeared. Dr. Emily Voss. Recorded message. She smiled softly. If you're watching this, you probably lost another battle. I didn't leave these animals behind. They chose to stay because they remembered who loved them. You brought war. We raised protectors. This is not your planet anymore. Turn back. The message ended. Varys wiped a tear. She looked at Scout. Are you going to let me go? Scout barked once, then walked to the exit tunnel. General Rack to crushed his communicator. There. Playing games. We attack in full force. This time we bring real weapons. No more Scouts. We burn every inch of Earth. But what he didn't know was that Earth's protectors were already moving, not just dogs and cats anymore, but snakes with crystal scales, horses that ran faster than speeders, fish that could disrupt ship's sonar with a hum. The pets were ready, and they were not afraid because they remembered, and love remembers forever. When the puppies roared, the sky over old Earth turned red. Hundreds of Zari warships entered the atmosphere. They came fast, loud, without warning. General Artur stood at the front of the lead ship, his face full of anger. No more waiting, no more fear. This time the Empire would crush Earth's so-called protectors. Below the clouds, in a quiet green valley, a small group of puppies played in the grass, chasing each other, rolling on their backs, tails wagging happily. In the center sat Fluffy, his golden fur glowing under the sunlight. Beside him was Scout Pumpkin, and the parrot called Eka. Scout tilted his head. The sound of war was coming, but he did not move. The others waited too, not in fear but with calm hearts. Then the puppies stopped playing, their ears perked up, their eyes turned blue. Echo flew into the sky, letting out a signal cry. All across Earth, from the oceans to the deserts, from the ruins to the forests, the pets heard the call high above. The alien warships locked onto the surface. Targeting systems beeped. Missiles ready, lasers hot. General Artur gave the order, fire everything, but nothing happened. Screens froze, weapons did not respond. The command panels glitched and showed strange messages. System override detected. Companion protocol active. You are not welcome here. One Zari officer shouted, we are being hacked. But how? A puppy, small, white with floppy ears, had walked into their ship hours ago. No one noticed. They thought it was cute. Now it sat in the engine room, eyes glowing green. Tap in controls with its little paws. Its name was Jellybean, and it was a cyber pup. Back on the surface, the first wave of drones came down, buzzing like angry wasps. They fired beams and empty targets, missing every shot. From the trees jumped dozens of kittens wearing tiny stealth suits. They crawled into the drones, bit through wires, and jumped away before the explosions. On the mountains, massive shapes moved through snow, great wolves with metallic fangs. Their howls reached the stars. In the rivers, otter activated underwater traps, pulling ships into whirlpools of sound. The Zalari soldiers finally landed, marching through mud and broken roads, but every corner had glowing eyes, every shadow had furry puppies stood in their path, alone, no weapon, just one tennis ball in its mouth. The soldiers laughed. They raised their rifles. The puppy barked once and the earth answered. The ground cracked. Hidden machines opened and dozens of puppies poured out, not normal puppies. These had armor on their backs, small rockets under their paws and eyes that could see your soul. They moved fast too. Fast, they jumped, barked, pushed enemies off their feet. They didn't kill, they disarmed, confused, and destroyed weapons without hurting anyone. When Zellari screamed, "They are babies." Why are babies winning? Because these were not trained in fear. They were raised in love. General Artur looked out the window of his ship. He saw chaos, his men running from squirrels, panicking over cats on their faces, slipping on balls thrown by puppies. He screamed, "This is a nightmare. Why won't they fight like warriors?" Fluffy appeared outside the ship, standing on the nose of the command deck. His golden fur moved with the wind. He roared once. The glass cracked, the controls sparked. Pumpkin followed, jumping onto the roof. With silent paws, she scratched one panel and the lights went dark inside. Ractor dropped his gun. He stepped back. Scout entered from the side, covered in battle dust, still calm, still wagging his tail. This is not war," Artur whispered. "This is madness." Scout barked once, and all the puppies around the ship sat down peacefully like they were done playing. Rar fell to his knees. He did not understand. He had seen great weapons, tanks, missiles, death rays, but nothing like this, nothing like a world guarded by love. He looked at Scout. "Are you going to kill me?" Scout just stared, then turned around and walked away. The translator drone floated down, voice soft. "You are not needed here anymore. Earth belongs to those who protect with heart, not had a." Rar covered his face. He knew this war was already lost. Later that night in the valley, the puppies rolled in the grass again. Jellybean chased a butterfly. Pumpkin slept on a warm stone. Echo sang to the stars. Fluffy watched the horizon. His eyes never closed. Scout sat beside him, tired but proud. They had done their job, and tomorrow they would do it again. The Hive Queen bows to Cat * far beyond Earth. In the dark corners of the galaxy, the Hive Queen stirred from her slumber. Her body was massive like a living mountain of silver, bone, and silk. Her mind stretched across stars. She felt the fear of the Zellari Empire. She heard their panic. She tasted their defeat. She saw the one called Fluffy. She saw the warrior named Scout. She saw the cat, that strange creature with fire in her eyes. It had stared into the minds of her soldiers, and they had not returned. The Hive Queen let out a command, one word in her ancient language: "Go." The sky above Earth shifted once again. This time it was not fire or ships. It was silence, thick, cold, and hungry. Scout stood on top of an old building. He sniffed the air. Something was wrong. The birds were quiet. Even Bandit the raccoon was hiding. Pumpkin appeared beside him. She did not speak, but her ears flattened. She felt it too. In the center of the forest, a hole opened in the ground. Not from bombs, not from machines. It grew like a wound, dark and deep, covered in strange silver threads. From the hole rose creatures, not ships, not soldiers, but beings made of bone and silk, with no eyes, no mouths, only smooth masks. Scout barked once. The warning cry. Fluffy heard it from far away and ran. Pumpkin stayed still. Her tail moved slowly. Her claws came out. The Hive Queen was watching inside her Throne chamber far away, the Hive Queen stared through her children's eyes. She had fought thousands of wars, crushed machines, destroyed empires, but never had she seen defenders like these. No orders, no ranks, just pure emotion. The cat, especially the Hive Queen, could not read her mind. She hated that. She sent more drones, faster, stronger, silent. Pumpkin walked slowly toward the forest. Whole, the creatures hissed, but she did not run. Scout tried to stop her, but she gave him one look, and he understood. This was her fight. She jumped forward, claws ready, landing on the first creature's head, tearing into its mazet. Screamed without sound and melted into Ashmore came, but she moved like wind. Fast, sharp, elegant, her eyes glowed bright yellow. The Hive Queen felt a sharp pain in her mind. The cat was breaking through. She screamed, "Send the armor beast now!" From the hole climbed a huge drone covered in living metal, teeth like swords, eyes like stars. It roared without voice. Pumpkin stood still. Her fur rose. She did not run, and the drone charged, but she leaped high, landed on its back, and tore into its spine. Sparks flew, but it spun and threw her across the ground. Scout ran forward. He barked loud. Puppies came. Echo flew above, dropping noise bombs, but nothing worked. The drone was too strong. Pumpkin got up, bleeding. She looked weak, but her eyes still burned. She walked back one step at a time, then she jumped again, higher. This time straight toward the drone's eye. She reached in, pulled out the glowing core, and fell to the ground. With it in her mouth, the drone fell dead. The Hive Queen screamed. Her mind broke into sparks. Pumpkin was inside her now, not her claws, not her teeth, but her memory, a soft hand petting her, girl laughing, a warm sun. Pumpkin had never forgotten. The Hive Queen saw it all, and she dropped to her knees in her own chamber, the galaxy's strongest mind. Now kneeling before a memory, she whispered through her drones, "Enough, I surrender back on Earth." The hole closed, the creatures faded, the air became warm again. Pumpkin dropped the drone core and walked to a rock. She curled up and began to clean her first. Scout smiled. Even Bandit clapped his small paws. Transleader drone spoke. Again, Hive Queen has ended her campaign. She offers peace and respect, especially to the cat. Pumpkin did not reply. She did not need Tuna's starship. Far away, the Hive Queen looked into small screen. It showed Pumpkin sleeping. She smiled for the first time in 1,000 years. She pressed her claws together and said softly, "Let no one harm this planet again." Earth's secret weapon was never a weapon. Quiet peace fell over Earth. No ships in the sky, no war sounds in the forest. Just wind, soft and gentle, the kind that carried old memory. Scout stood near a small lake. He watched the water ripple with the breeze. His body was still, but his mind was no remembered. The humans, the children who once laughed here, the boy who threw him sticks, the girl who hugged him when thunder scared him. Now there were no more humans, only their protectors. Pumpkin slept on a tree branch nearby, her tail slowly moving side to side. Her ear twitched, but she did not wake. Bandit sat in the grass chewing on a metal bolt. He didn't know where he found it, but it tasted like adventure. Fluffy walked toward the lake. Ground shook slightly with each step, but he looked calm. His eyes scanned the horizon. They had survived war, but something still felt unfinished. High above Earth, a satellite turned on, not alien, not human. It had no name, only a message. Project Companion, active phase 2 beginning. Inside a hidden lab deep, under the old mountains, machines came online. Soft blue lights filled the empty halls, and on a table a small pod opened out. Stepped a beagle, brown and white, wearing tiny glasses. His name was Professor Wiggles. He looked around, then checked the control panel with his paw. Time to activate the archive, he said in a voice that sounded like a calm teacher. Scout and Fluffy heard a hum in the air. It was not loud, but it felt important. Scout tilted his head. Fluffy let out a low sound. Then they ran. Pumpkin opened one eye, watched them run, yawned, and followed slowly. Bandit didn't run. He rolled into a ball and rolled after them like a wheel. They reached a stone hill, but the stone was fake. It opened like a door. Lights guided them down into the lab. The hallway was clean, warm, full of old smells, cookies, books, blankets. At the end stood Professor Wiggles. He adjusted his glasses and smiled. Welcome you. Right on time. Scout tilted his head. Again, Fluffy let out a soft bark. Wiggles nodded. Yes, you've done well. But you were never the real weapon. Pumpkin jumped onto a counter and looked annoyed. She hated riddles. Wiggles walked to a screen. It showed videos. Boy holding his dog during a storm. Girl brushing her cat. A man singing to a bird. A family eating dinner with a raccoon stealing grapes. These were the moments that mattered. These were the memories that changed the pets, not the upgrades, not the armor, not the tech. Love, trust, connection. That was Earth's true power. Scout sat quietly. He remembered it all. The warm beds, soft voice saying, "Good boy." Wiggles pointed to a glass door. Inside were hundreds of small glowing cubes, each one a memory, each one alive. These are Earth's last gifts. If the aliens return, you don't need claws, you just need to remind them what they've forgotten. Pumpkin stared at the cubes. Her tail flicked. She jumped into the room and touched one. It glowed brighter. The image of a child petting her filled the room. The sound of laughter made the air feel lighter. Fluffy stepped forward. He touched a cube. It showed a little boy giving him ice cream. Fluffy licked the memory like it was real. Professor Wiggles smiled. You are not weapons. You are guardians of feeling. No army can fight that in a far part of the galaxy. An alien scientist intercepted the signal from Earth's lab. He saw the memory cubes. He saw the pets gathered in peace. He stood up slowly and whispered, they did not win with power, they won with meaning. Back in the lab, Scout pressed his paw on a console. A soft music began to play. Old Earth music. Happy, gentle. Pumpkin purred. Bandit danced in circles. Fluffy wagged his tail like a metronome. Wiggles looked at them. You have shown the galaxy something new, not fear, not hate, but something stronger, and the world will remember. Outside the lab, the sun was setting. The sky turned golden, and orange birds flew quietly across the sky. No alarms, no warnings, just peace. Earned not through war, but through love. Scout stood on the hill looking down at the valley. Fluffy joined him. Then Pumpkin, then Bandit, then Wiggles. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They were the secret. They were the shield. Earth's weapon was never a weapon. It was loyalty. It was memory. It was heart. The treaty signed in paw prints. Asterisk. The galaxy changed quietly. Not with bombs, not with fire, but with soft footsteps and wagging tails. Scout walked across the great marble floor of the Galactic Council Hall. Beside him walked Fluffy. His mane brushed the ceiling. Lights. Pumpkin followed with silent steps, her eyes sharp, her tail flicking with every motion. Bandit came, last holding a stolen muffin in one paw, licking crumbs from his whiskers. Council members watched from tall seats. Aliens from every corner of the stars. Old enemies, new visitors. Some who still didn't understand why they were here. The high voice of the council stood. He was tall, skin like glass, eyes like galaxies. He looked at the group of Earth creatures and spoke slowly. You are not soldiers. You are not rulers. You are not what we expected. Scout tilted his head. He walked to a table, climbed on top and placed a collar on the smooth stone surface. It was old, worn. The name tag said Scout. Then he sat and waited. High voice stared at it. What is this? Pumpkin jumped next. She placed a tiny drawing a child had made. It crayon lines showing a cat and a girl she sat beside. Scout without a word. Fluffy dropped a half-chewed ball. It rolled across the table, bounced and came to a stop in front of a lizard delegate. The delegate picked it up, squeezed it. It squeaked. He blinked, then smiled. Bandit tossed the muffin at a confused robot diplomat. The muffin hit its chest and left a jelly mark. Bandit waved and bowed. Room went silent again, but the silence was different. It felt warm, gentle. The high voice leaned forward. You do not ask for land. You do not demand gold. You do not bring threats. Why have you come? Scout barked once. The translator drone floated down and spoke in soft tones. We remember, we protect, we offer peace, and we ask one thing: let Earth be left alone, not forgotten but honored. Let its memory remain clean. No more invasions, no more war, just a place of rest and love. That delegates whispered among themselves. Could they trust a planet guarded by animals? Could a treaty be signed without paper, without weapons? Then the Hive Queen stood. She walked forward, tall, elegant, terrifying, but in her claws she held a ribbon. It was pink. It smelled like flowers. She placed it on the table. I found this in a child's room on Earth. She had written a name on it, Mr. Buttons. I believe that was the cat. Pumpkin lifted her head. Her eyes softened. The Hive Queen bowed. I agree to the terms. One by one, others came forward. A broken leash from a Zilari captain, a chewed slipper from a trader who once lived on Earth, a small video of a parrot singing a human song. No weapons, no papers, only memories. The high voice raised his hand, then lowered it slowly. It is done. He touched the table and a bright symbol glowed in the air. A paw print next to a heart. The first treaty in galactic history, signed without ink, signed with emotion, signed in paw prints. Back on Earth, Scout sat in the valley once more, looking at the sky, a peaceful sky. Pumpkin laid on a warm rock. Bandit slept inside a toolbox. Fluffy rested beside a tree, snoring like thunder. Professor Wiggles stood at the hill. He watched them quietly. He spoke to the wind. You did what no army could do. You saved not just Earth, but the meaning of home. The lab below went silent again. The memory cubes locked away, waiting for the day they might be needed again. But for now, they were safe in the stars. New children learned about Earth, not as a place of war, but a place of heart. They learned stories of brave cats and clever dogs, of flying parrots and sneaky raccoons, of creatures who loved humans. Even when the humans were gone, they asked, were they real? The teachers smiled. Yes, very real and very brave. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, An alien boy hugged his small furry pet. He whispered, "You'll protect me, right?" The pet wagged its tail, and somewhere far away, Scout's ear twitched because the bond was eternal. The love would never end. Earth had no army, no guns, but it had left something stronger behind, and the galaxy would never forget. Hen